And we're coming to you live for the Built Ford Tough Studio. Boomer Esiason, Greg Giannotti. It's Boomer and Gio on the Fan. Simulcast across the country on CBS Sports Network and wherever you are on the free Odyssey app. Good Tuesday morning. We are back together again. Everybody in their right place, so I'm excited for that. Also excited about Shedeur Sanders maybe or maybe not saying that they're hoping for the Giants. This is one of those pre-draft stories that you really don't even know if it's true or not because there's no video of it. There's no audio of it. It happened like 5 days ago, and then someone just threw it out there on Twitter, and everybody's running with it because Shedeur Sanders to the Giants would be really interesting and really fun for us. Cam Ward had his pro day yesterday. Everybody, of course, has a great pro day. Very few people do not have a good pro day. Sam Darnold's pro day went down in history. Zach Wilson's pro day, people are still talking about, so who the hell knows what's going to happen with Cam Ward. And can you believe we are 2 days away from real life, regular season, Major League Baseball? Good morning, Boomer. How are you?
Yeah, good morning, G. Happy to be back. You know, I did catch some of you and Jerry yesterday morning, so I know all about your vacation, all about your issues, all about the things that you went through. And, you know, it's an experience that, you know, every dad has to deal with when you go to Disney. So I don't want to ask you how your vacation went because I know exactly how it went.
It was 95% was great. I mean, I told those two funny stories, but they were actually so well behaved. It was awesome. I thought it was going to be a disaster, but you know, we have so many great memories from that. But I do have to have a second job now, so I'll be leaving here at 10 o'clock to go work in a deli.
Sydney told me that she saw that Gina posted something. So I guess this is how we get information. And I don't know how accurate this is.
Right.
But since Sydney and Matt had just went through going to Disney World, and they had told me how much it cost to get them painted up as princesses.
Oh, yeah.
It's like $600 a kid.
Yeah, well, depending on what dress they pick. And this is a story I didn't tell yesterday. So Sabrina,
but I'm correct,
Sabrina,
because it was posted.
It was. So Sabrina walks in there. It's a whole room of dresses she could pick, and in the lobby there's this one dress that is hanging there, a Cinderella dress.
Oh, and it's got to be the most expensive dress.
She goes, "I want the one in the lobby," and I'm like, Sabrina, and the woman goes, "Well, that's our super premium package. That's a $450 choice." And I'm like, So I'm like, Sabrina, come around the corner here. Look, it's the same one. It's just, you know, it's just not hanging there, but it's the same. We can get this one. She's like, And then, of course, you know, we're in Disney. I got Gina's there. The sister-in-law's there. Oh, come on. Let her have it. Come on. Sure, let her have it. You know, and this woman who's dressed up like I don't even know. Like, it's the Bippity Boppity Boutique. So she's like dressed like one of the seven dwarves is ringing me up.
Yes.
And she goes.
So you want the Bippity Bop Boutique? That's what it is.
Right. And then she goes.
And
he looks at me, she goes, $684.71. I'm like, like, excuse me, wench? What?
So she had to get all made up, the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have the Bippity Bop Boutique back in the day. So that's something new that they added.
I mean, it was like the $450 Cinderella dress. I told Sabrina, I'm like, you're wearing this again. Like, this isn't a wedding dress. You're not putting it on once.
This is Halloween. This is every single thing.
This is every Friday. Like, anytime we go out to eat, you're putting that damn thing on. We're getting some use out of this thing.
You know what is really funny is that Matt had the same reaction that you did.
Oh.
Like, and of course, the moms have the same reaction that Gina did.
Oh. Crying and the whole thing and all this is the cutest thing in the world. And I mean, and then I loved seeing Sabrina's face and how excited she was. I mean, Summer picked Moana. I don't think Summer had any idea what was going on, but she picked a Moana dress and she ended up looking great too. And luckily that was one of the cheaper ones. But I did enjoy seeing them get done up. But yeah, I was floored when that woman, I still remember her face. Like I remember exactly what she looked at when she looked up at me. And the number started with a 6. And I was just like, and I told Gina, I'm like, we didn't pay for this already? This is not one of the things we had taken care of already?
I don't want to get knee deep into this, but since it was posted and since Sydney said that you guys went through exactly what they went through and that you acted this, I only imagine, because I don't think that was put out there in social media that you reacted that way.
Yeah.
But Sydney, of course, said Matt reacted. I'm sure Gio reacted the same way that Matt did.
No, I did. But I loved seeing them go through the whole process. And There's a picture of me, like I didn't even know was taken of me, where I'm sitting there and I got a real genuine smile on my face looking at Sabrina when she came out as the princess. And Gina's like, oh, this is great. It's a priceless picture. But yes,
it is a priceless picture. Well, it's not a priceless picture.
It's
just
$684.87 picture. Yes, but you know how it is. But yes, it ended up being a great time with them. Honestly, I thought it was going to be a disaster, and it was great. Just a couple of issues here or there about the Finding Nemo ride and a lollipop with Summer. But outside of that, it was amazing. Can't wait to go back.
Yeah, well, you're going to have to go back probably in about another 2 years when Summer really can get the full effect.
Yeah, I was thinking 3. I was thinking 3 years. So Sabrina will be 10. And then Summer will be 6, 7 at that point.
All right. Okay.
That's what I'm thinking. Probably
something to look forward to.
Yes, that is right. And maybe by then, Shedeur Sanders will have won a Super Bowl as a New York Giants quarterback. What do you think?
I don't know, man. This is getting kind of hairy now, and obviously with these pro days and everything, well, you're going to hear a lot of things about a lot of these players. And I think the way that supposedly Dion put it is, we're hoping for New York. Now, we've seen Joe Shane and, at Colorado during the football season. We saw him at practice. We saw him talking to Dion. We saw him talking to Shedeur. I don't know about the negativity surrounding Shedeur. That could happen to anybody. That could be a smokescreen. You never know. The one thing that I do know is that the Giants, by signing Jameis Winston, have their backup quarterback, and they have their mentor, if you will. I think Jameis is a really good guy. I think he's a very popular teammate. He's just a little goofy off the field, but not in any like mean-spirited way. No. He's not a mean-spirited guy at all. I mean, he's a fun-loving maniac that just loves being a quarterback in the NFL. And he's probably, he's cheaper than Drew Lock was, so he is definitely the backup, at least right now. I don't see Aaron Rodgers coming here and living through this New York media horde once again with the other team in town. I see him going to Pittsburgh for a 2-year deal. Pittsburgh's got the money. I think the framework of that deal is already done. Just a question of if he still wants to play. And Pittsburgh desperately needs a guy like him. And the reason I say that is because of the two of those wide receivers, DK Metcalf and George Pickens. They have to have a real quarterback back there, or whoever's back there is going to be devoured by those two personalities.
Yeah, absolutely. And as much as I'm down on Aaron Rodgers being here again, if he ended up having a very good year with the Steelers, it wouldn't surprise me. I just think that there's a really good chance he gets banged up again and can't play 100%. But do you think, does the Jameis Winston signing make you think that the Giants are going to draft a quarterback more now than you did before that? Because with the number 3 overall pick, because Jameis was the first overall pick, and when you're talking about a mentor, that's someone who went through all of that. It wasn't a terrible thing. It wasn't a Jamarcus Russell, Ryan Leaf experience with Jameis Winston.
Let's just put it this way. The Jets and the Giants are not going to the playoffs or the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, they're not.
No, I know that.
I mean, all of this stuff right now is just discussion for, just to see whether or not these personalities, whether it be Justin Fields or Jameis, are able to play and win some games and at least keep the offense moving and make some big plays so the football fans around here can get somewhat excited about what they're watching.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it's more of the question of, like, when I saw that they signed Jameis, I thought two things. One, Brian Daboll thinks he could win some games with them, and he's tired of his offense sucking and being boring. But also that I think that they're bringing in a guy who's got experience being a top pick, who can talk to either Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders about what that was like.
Yeah, I mean, that could be part of it, sure. 100%.
Because there's not a lot of those guys out there that fit that mold. I mean, Sam Darnold did, but he got a lot of money. And he got a lot of money.
He got a lot of money for 1 year. The
exactly.
Seattle Seahawks can get out of that deal after 1 year, and it wouldn't cost them.
But the Giants weren't going to pay that money for a quarterback, and they weren't going to have Sam as a starter.
They were going to pay that money for Matthew Stafford.
Well, true.
And they may actually have a better deal in terms of 1 year deal for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, again, you still don't know what the two teams in front of them are going to do. If they are really into one of these quarterbacks, then maybe they have to trade up, with either Cleveland or Tennessee. If Tennessee loves Cam Ward, they're not going to trade out of that. But, they're, like I said, if the Giants lose these two quarterbacks, that doesn't mean that they can't draft a quarterback in a second or third round and get a stud player at number 3. I mean, that would be really interesting to me, when Tennessee's on the clock, or if there's first of all, there could be a trade before the draft. And I think Russell Wilson's waiting to hear, where Aaron Rodgers is going. The amazing thing to me is that Pittsburgh doesn't want Russell Wilson back.
Yeah, I know. We talked a little bit about it yesterday about how strange that whole thing unfolded out there, where Justin Fields starts, he wins some games, Russell Wilson comes in, he starts off 6-1, but they fall apart. And then in the offseason, Russell Wilson believed that Justin Fields was preferred by the Steelers over him. But then Justin Fields didn't want the Steelers because he didn't get a chance to play again after going 4-2, and the Jets guaranteed the opportunity for him to start.
Yeah, and he got more money from the Jets.
Right, so then he ends up leaving, and then the Steelers don't want Russell Wilson back. And where's he going to go if he doesn't? If the Giants aren't interested in him anymore after Jameis, which apparently they still could be, Cleveland's the only place left, or retirement. There's no other team that's going to take him on. It's a very weird situation for him.
Maybe Cleveland, maybe Tennessee still. You never know. You never know what these teams are. They're still going through the evaluating process. I'm sure that there's a lot of discussion going on between GMs about potential trades. I just feel like there's going to be enormous public pressure for the Giants to take a quarterback at the number 3 spot if one of these two players is there.
Yeah.
If one of these two players is not there, then the Giants can get themselves what you would like to think is going to be a Pro Bowl player and is going to be a stud player for many years at a number of different positions, either a defensive back or two-way player in Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, the edge rusher out of Penn State, Will Campbell, or the tackle from Missouri, one of those two guys, or Mason Graham, who I still think Abdul Carter and Mason Graham are the most interesting players to me in this draft, and they're both defensive players. One's a defensive tackle, one's an edge rusher, and both of them have motors that don't stop. And whoever gets those two players are going to be very lucky to get those two players, assuming they all stay healthy and everything works out well. Those, to me, are two players that are can't-miss players in this draft.
Yeah, and you said before when teams ahead of you pick the quarterbacks, then it makes it easy for you to say, okay, well, we couldn't get up there. The price was too high to trade up, and now we have to take this guy. But if that happened 2 years in a row and these two guys worked out, I mean, the luck in that situation would just be horrendous for the Giants. It would be because they won a couple of meaningless games the last couple of years to get them on the outside looking in when it came to quarterbacks.
You know how we knew the Yankees were not going to get Juan Soto, that the Mets were going to get him, and the Mets were going to pay any amount of money, and the Yankees were going to play the game. We're going to offer him twice as much as we gave Aaron Judge. Essentially, that was the story.
Yeah.
And so Yankee fans could say, hey, we were in it. But the Yankees knew they were never in it. The Yankees knew that, Steve Cohen was going to overpay, and they were going to pay him a boatload of money. But the Yankees could say, hey, we tried. We tried, right? So the Giants could say the same thing. The Giants could say, if those two quarterbacks go first and second, the Giants could say, you know what, we tried to trade up, but we have other issues that we have to deal with, and it just didn't work out. Those two teams took that quarterback. Now we get to take a player that we really want.
Yeah, I mean, and that could happen, but then again, you're talking about a team with absolutely no future at that position unless you hit on a guy later in the draft, where I know we talk about the guys who have been hit on later in the draft, whether it be Russell Wilson or Brock Purdy or Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts, but there's far more guys that are drafted in the second, third, fourth round and beyond. I mean, we're talking probably a 20-to-1 ratio that end up being a nothing player.
The other thing the Giants could do is they could trade down, get a couple extra draft picks, and still get a top quality player. They could still do that as long as they don't go outside of like 8 or 9. If they could stay within the top 8 or 9, they're going to get a good player at a very, very important position other than quarterback. And maybe the draft capital that he's able to acquire, if they do that, he's able then to get back into the first round or higher, or be able to get Jackson Dart or one of these other quarterbacks that maybe they feel could be one of those players like you just pointed out.
Yeah, I mean, Cam Ward has his pro day, and apparently after he makes one of his big throws, he turns to the Titans and say, that's all you need to see, and he's trying to
I mean, these players now, man, I'm telling you, it's just.
But don't you need a little bit of that, though?
I had a lot of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I fell in the trap.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I kind of want that from a guy. Now, I know that Caleb Williams said something stupid last year about they're never going to need a punter, and it looked ridiculous during the season. But
they have no idea. They don't know what they don't know yet. They have no idea what it's going to be like when they get into that room for the first time with their team and they start going through their entire game plans and their offenses, and their head is going to be spinning. And just because you're a great athlete and you can throw the ball a mile and you can run a 4.4 40, those are all the measurables that are great until I find the guy that can handle it, like Brock Purdy, like Tom Brady, like Russell Wilson. All of this is just blah to me.
Yeah.
You got to see the kid on the field, and you got to see the kid and whether or not he can handle what the NFL throws at him. And by the way, Bo Nix handled it last year, C.J. Stroud the year before that, Jaden Daniels last year, Michael Penix to a certain extent. You can see that they can manage some of this stuff. Some of these guys are overwhelmed. And just because, and these kids just don't know. They have no idea. They watch it on TV just like we do, and they think, oh, wow, I could do that. Good luck, man. Good luck until you step behind that center and all hell is breaking loose, and the defense is running 50 different defensive coverages, all these different fire zones and blitzes coming from everywhere, and your coach is trying to teach you all of this on the fly, and then when the game really starts, and you're on the road, you're in Philadelphia, you're on your own 5-yard line, and the fans are screaming at you. Nobody can hear a goddamn thing, and you're trying to spit out the play, and then you get up there, and then there's an audible that's alongside that play, and you forget it. And you get your ass kicked and get driven into the ground.
Yeah.
That's when reality hits you smack in the face, and your 4.3 40 doesn't mean crap at that point.
But I think what Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are thinking is, man, Jaden Daniels had a lot of success. I'm going to be the next offensive rookie of the year. That's what I think they're thinking.
That kid, well, okay, but that kid is special. I don't know if you saw. Did you see the interview with his mom?
I did not.
Oh, my God. She is awesome.
Yeah?
Yeah, she is awesome. So they ask her, what are you afraid of when it comes to your son?
We're talking about Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels' mom. And I'm paraphrasing here, but I was like, she's got her crap together. She looks right at the camera. She goes, the women.
Wow.
There's somebody out there right now that wants, essentially my son. The women. And I'll tell you what, they ain't getting through me. Oh, my God. And then they asked Jaden about that comment.
Yeah.
And Jaden goes, oh, that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me. She's a young mom, of course, but she was like, nobody is getting my boy and screwing up his life.
Right. You're not, there's no Instagram butt model, OnlyFans, hoo-ah, who's coming after my son.
Right.
That's basically
exactly what she said, man. I mean, I was like, wow.
I got to find that.
That was awesome.
All right, Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network, just getting started on this Tuesday morning.